Hey, my name is Eric Nelson, and I am a pastor here at South Mountain Community Church in Utah. And I am a partner with you as we help as many people as possible take their next step towards becoming fully devoted and fully delighted followers of Jesus Christ. Now, it is really good to be able to connect with you today. My friends, Pastor Ricardo, Pastor Jairo asked that I take just a few minutes to talk to you about something that I think would be helpful and hopeful. At SMCC, we want every message to be full of help and full of hope. So I want to talk about something that I think can make every one of our relationships better. Regardless of what you believe, I think you want your relationship to be better. So I want to talk about something that I think can do just that. I want to talk about forgiveness for just a little bit. I want to talk about forgiveness. See, life is better, relationships are better when we understand what forgiveness is, because at some point in relationships, there will be a gap between what you expected from somebody and what you got from somebody. What you expected from them is not what you received from them, and when that happens, there's a gap, and that gap can hurt. It can be offensive. It can produce pain and difficulty and perhaps mistrust. It can create some pain in a relationship. And sometimes in a relationship, it's more than just a gap. I mean, it's a direct offense. And it's time for forgiveness. See, forgiveness is necessary when someone has taken something from you. There's a debt that's happened. Perhaps in a relationship, you've experienced this. Someone took your time. Someone took your money, someone took your joy, someone took your honor. Maybe they stole from you your dignity, your purity, your value, or your worth. In relationships, this can happen. Someone takes something from you, now they owe you. They need to pay you back. That would be the right thing to do. However, in relationships, sometimes that person can't pay you back. When they can't pay you back, they can't come through on the debt, they can't give you what they took from you, it's time for forgiveness. Now, by the way, the people that have done this at times, and by the way, I've done this to other people, sometimes we can't pay somebody back. We can't give back to them what we took from them, and we just have to apologize and ask for forgiveness. So forgiveness is really important. Forgiveness is us releasing them from the expectation that they would pay us back. It's us saying, you don't owe me anymore. I don't expect you to pay me back anymore. You are forgiven of the debt. The thing that you owed me, the debt is canceled. This is what forgiveness is. Now, there are a lot of bad ideas out there about forgiveness. Some people think forgiving means forgetting, that we never think about it again. That's not true. Some people think forgiveness means going back to the way things used to be in the relationship, but that is not true either. Forgiveness is saying this person doesn't need to pay me back any longer. It frees them from the debt, but listen, more than that, it frees us from the bitterness that comes from holding on to the offense. Forgiveness sets them free, but forgiveness, it sets us free too. Now, why would we want to do this? I mean, yeah, it sets us free, but why would we do that? I mean, the right thing to do is for justice to be served. Here's why we can do that. Here's why we can forgive somebody else. It's because Jesus has forgiven us. I want to read to you something from the New Testament, the book of Colossians chapter 2. Colossians chapter 2 says this about Jesus. Chapter 2, verse 13. Jesus forgave us all our sins. So when we talk about forgiveness and forgiving somebody else, we should always think about Jesus and how he has forgiven us. He forgave us all our sins, having canceled the charge. He canceled the charge. There was a charge against us for our sin, and he canceled it. And when there's a charge that we have against somebody else for their sin against us, forgiveness means we cancel that. Here's how he did it. He canceled the charge of our legal indebtedness. That's a big word, especially a big word in English. But it means the debt has been wiped away. The debt has been erased. Here's how he did it. He took it away, nailing it to the cross. Jesus took on the pain of forgiveness to cancel our debt when he died on the cross. He paid the debt so that we don't have to. And forgiveness, when we forgive somebody else, it requires the same thing of us, that we let them go. We absorb the pain ourselves. So, if he can forgive us, I think we can forgive others, because there's nothing that someone else would do to us that's bigger than what we've done to Jesus. Now, this is forgiveness. This is not reconciliation. Reconciliation is different. It's two people coming back together in relationship. That requires two people to look at the situation and decide how to move forward with trust. Reconciliation takes two, and perhaps that's what can happen in your relationships. However, you can't control the other person, and perhaps they're a person that they're currently not a safe person to reconcile with. So what do we do in the meantime? Well, we forgive them. We set them free. We don't expect them to pay us back, because they probably can't and they probably won't. So we set them free, just as Jesus set us free. Now, I think this can make every relationship better, and I hope this helps you in your relationship, because surely there is someone that has hurt you and wronged you, and perhaps you're bitter. Today, I want you to be set free from that by setting them free from the expectation of paying you back. And when you set them free, you set yourself free from hanging on to the hurt. Why would we do that? Because Jesus has already set us free. I think this thing right here is something we can all do to take our next step to living with full devotion and full delight. Thanks for listening to this today. I can't wait to connect with you again soon. Once again, I'm Eric, coming to you from Utah at SMCC. I'm so grateful for what you are doing in Bucaramanga, and we will connect soon. Have a great day.